Welcome to Speaking Holistically, the podcast that explores the power of alternative medicine, natural healing, and homeopathic solutions to help you achieve true wellness. Each week, Dr. Jen and Amy G dive into the world of holistic health, discussing researched, time-tested remedies with expert insights from Dr. Jen, as well as real-life stories from patients to empower you to take charge of your health. So if you're ready to embrace a more natural path to wellness, let's start speaking holistically, because true healing begins from within. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Speaking Holistically. I'm your co-host, Amy G. I'm here with my amazing co-host, Dr. Jen. And today we are doing a big topic, common health concern episode on weight loss.
Okay, but it's not your usual weight loss. Like all these reels on Instagram and everything are like, if you do this and just wait, we'll tell you in 15 minutes of what exactly is happening and what you need to do. And then 45 minutes later, they still haven't told you jack crap. So that's infuriating. So what I generally do with my patients, and this is for weight loss for beginners. This is not, you've been doing this forever and you're maintaining your weight, and it could, but it's easy. This is an easy way to do it. It's not going to take a whole lot of effort. A lot of these programs are like, you need to exercise and you need to do this, you need to do this and 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 this. And then the person is completely overwhelmed and gives up. So this episode is for those people. If you've got this under control, or if you don't need beginner's information, move along. So, but for a lot of people, they watch this stuff and can't figure out what to do for themselves. So this is super, super easy way to manage it. I've had lots of patients lose somewhere between 30 and 70, 80 pounds just by implementing some of this easy stuff. So basically, I tell people, pick the easiest food that you know you shouldn't be eating, whatever that is for you. Pick the easiest food. Don't pick the hardest. Don't pick the hardest. Don't make this difficult on yourself. So if you drink soda twice a week and you're like, I could probably do without that, just dump it. Don't drink any more soda and get it out of your house. Go give it to your neighbor. No, don't do that. But, I tell people, throw it out. It's better in the trash than it is in your kidneys or your liver and your gut. But if you don't want to, go give it to somebody else, get it out of your house. Once you get to the point where you are not craving it anymore, have no desire for it, or haven't even thought of it, then you take the next food, the next easiest food, and you pull that out of your diet. And that's how you do it. That's part of it. Okay. It's not the whole story, but that's it. Everyone wants to pick the hardest thing and pick 10 things and pick 20 things. And then they're like, forget it. I did it for 2 days and I can't do it anymore.
Yep. Yeah.
And really, it's not about weight loss. It's about getting healthy, because when you get healthy, the weight comes off. So that's the big thing that people need to remember, was we're not looking for the scale. We're not looking for this. We're looking for how healthy are you getting so that your body doesn't have to hold on to this extra, adipose fat tissue. So the other thing is, drink 1 liter per 50 pounds or fraction thereof. So if you are 200 pounds, you should be drinking 4 liters of water a day, which is pretty much a gallon of water. Now, people are going to go, what? That is not you running out today and starting to drink a gallon of water. This is you working on a goal and realizing how potentially dehydrated you are based upon what your weight is. The other thing is that people tell me, well, I've heard you could drink too much water and it could kill you if you drink too much water. I'm like, you're not going to do that. Like, there was some woman who was in some contest and she drank like 17 gallons of water or something in one day. I'm like, well, you're an idiot. Like, I don't know what to tell you. That's just dumb.
She did die, but you're right. It was Hold Your Wii for Wii. It was a radio competition to win a Wii, and she wanted to win it for her son. And that's what she did. She drank about it. And then she said, I have a headache. And she went to lay down and she didn't wake back up. But the amount of water she consumed was
ridiculous. That's an impossibility. Yeah, but that's not going to happen on a regular basis, and you're going to deplete the electrolytes. And when you don't have any electrolytes, yes, your body is not going to survive that. So that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about, that's your goal. If you're drinking 4 ounces of water and you're 300 pounds, you have a huge discrepancy of where you are and where you need to be, right? So just work on that water. Are you going to succeed every day? No, you're not. Are you going to do better than you have been most days? Yes. So I always tell patients, we're looking for progress. We're not looking for perfection. Just keep moving in that direction. I also tell them, if you fall in the crosswalk, because I have a crosswalk right in front of my office, if you fall in the crosswalk, are you just going to lay there? No, get up, brush yourself off, get to the other side, reconvene, get yourself together, and then keep moving in the direction that you had planned on moving in. That's the same way with any of this stuff. Are you going to go out to dinner with your husband? Yes. Are you going to have dessert? Maybe. And if you do, fine. Are you going to eat the whole thing? Are you going to eat 2 desserts? Are you going to have 1 dessert? Having a plan before you go out is super huge and important. I tell people who have an affinity for alcohol, have a plan when you go out. Do you want 1 drink? Do you want 2 drinks? Like, no, I want 1. Okay, great. When you get there, you stick to the 1 drink. Don't go to the 2. You have to have a plan, just like your food. Are you planning on having dessert? What are you planning on potentially eating? And you can have 1 bite, but are you going to eat 2 desserts? I mean, those are the things that people need to remember, is just have a plan, because without a plan, you're going to fail, period. If I got in my boat and took off on the lake and I had no plan, God knows where I'd end up. You know what I mean? So have a plan. Pick the easiest food, get your water up. Okay. Have a plan when you go out to eat, or when you go to the grocery store, have a plan. You got to have a plan. I generally tell people about 130 grams of protein a day to start off with. And that can be different. We can go a little bit lower. We can go a little bit higher. It just sort of depends. But always, always, always keep the carbs below the protein intake. So if you're needing to eat 130 grams of protein, you need to keep it below 130 grams of carbohydrates. Most people who start off doing this, they can't seem to get up to 130 grams of protein because they're not used to eating protein. They probably eat 10 or 20 grams of protein a day. So if they're eating 80, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm struggling, I'm having a hard time. Great, we'll keep your carbs below your protein. So if you only get up to 70 grams of protein, you're keeping your carbs below 70 grams. So that is something to think about. And the biggest thing I tell them is no white trash. So that's an easy one. No white trash. You go to a restaurant, they put a basket of bread on the table. What color is it? It's white. Don't eat it. And people go, well, they have some brown ones. Fine, eat the brown ones. I don't care. But you're not going to eat as much brown as you would the white. Let's be real. You know?
That's true. You're right about that. Yeah.
So no white sugar, no white flour. Pasta is basically why it's been so processed, right? No milk, because most of that is pasteurized, homogenized, processed to all get up. So, and then this is where we get into well, I drink raw milk. Great. Then you could probably have some raw milk, but don't overdo it, you know? Or what about sourdough? It's white. It's true. And unless it's fermenting over days and days and days, and the store-bought stuff generally is not, I'm going to say, as a rule of thumb, no. Not to mention, how many grams of carbohydrates are you getting out of 1 piece of sourdough bread, based upon how much protein you're getting? And that's where you get to decide, do I want this? Is it worth it? I don't know. So that's the biggest thing. And then I tell people, don't worry about the exercise to begin with, because if we add that component, we get failure probably 80 to 90% of the time. They can't keep up, all the different changes. So really, it's about picking 1 easy food, getting it out of your diet, getting it out of the house. Guess what? You don't have to think about it again. That decision was just made once. You don't have to make it a million times. 1 liter of water per 50 pounds of body weight, 130 grams of protein, and then just keeping the carbohydrates under the protein intake, and absolutely no white trash. Those are the easiest things that you can do. I've had so many patients be able to lose the weight and keep it off, because it's not a diet. It's a lifestyle change. It's a choice. And like I said, you're not going to be perfect. We're not looking for perfection. We're looking for progress. So a lot of people, if they don't do it, if they can't do it 100%, if they, go to dinner with their husband or whatever we just, talked about, they're like, oh, I give up. I just failed. I'm like, no, you just stumbled. Pick yourself up out of that crosswalk so you don't get hit by a Mack truck, and get yourself over to the other side, reconvene, get yourself figured out, and keep moving in that direction. It's not a big deal. It was just a hiccup.
Yeah.
So, and I find that a lot of people who are overweight are extremely hard on themselves and very judgmental of themselves. And so they give up, because it's easier to give up than keep working at it. So give yourself a little bit of grace. Give yourself a little bit more grace than you probably would, other people potentially too.
Yeah. Well, give yourself the grace you'd give a friend.
Absolutely.
I mean, think about that way. People are so much harder on themselves than they are on the people they love. If it was a friend or a family member, how much grace would you give them? I mean,
yeah. And you keep encouraging them for sure. So, and once again, it's not about the weight loss. It's about getting healthy. When you get healthy, the weight comes down or the weight goes up. I mean, depending if you're underweight as well, but we have a higher proportion of people who are overweight in the United States than we do underweight for sure. So
Yeah.
This is really what this is about. It's just weight loss for beginners and, going there and trying to figure that all out and making it as easy as possible.
Yeah, no, this is so great, and these are such great tips, and I love the practicality of the approach, and it's not overwhelming. It's not New Year's resolution level change that people try and do, because it just ensures failure for 98% of the people probably. So I think this is just a great approach. Really just very practical and much, much more manageable for people.
The one thing that people don't really understand either is that sugar stimulates the same part of the brain that cocaine does. So to get off sugar is just as hard for a lot of people, if not harder than getting off some sort of a drug like that. Because you wouldn't go to a restaurant and do a line of cocaine on the table and be like, and like no one's looking at you, but you can go to a restaurant and order a piece of pie, and no one's going to even look twice at you. So you can do these things in public easier and not have the shame associated with it necessarily, but it is stimulating the same part of the brain. It's just as hard for people to really get off some of these sugars and stuff like that. And it takes about 3 weeks for those habits to change. So giving yourself a little bit of time, and like dairy, it takes 3 weeks for the dairy proteins to get out of the blood. There's a lot of stuff that happens. So that 3-week, 4-week mark is absolutely imperative for people to kind of get to that point. Then once they feel like they've got a grasp on it, then I'm like, okay, take a walk 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes, that's it. Walk 5 minutes in one direction, turn around, come home. That's it. 10 minutes. Can you commit to 10 minutes? Well, yeah. Okay. And then once they get out there, they're like, well, geez, I'm already out here. I already put the effort to put my shoes on. Maybe I'll do 10 or 15 minutes or 15 and 20 or whatever it is. And so a little bit at a time. And then 1 day or 2 days or 3 days, they don't get to it. And that's okay too. So that walking those 2 or 3 days that week was better than walking 0 days that week. So it's just the small increments, the small wins, and not being so hard on ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And like with sugar, I mean, you're right. It's so addictive. And I think one way to do it is step down your sugar intake and just, like instead of just trying to just completely cold turkey it, because I think a lot of people can't.
Some people can't because it's like a drug. So some people literally cannot do it. It'd be like, well, just a little bit of meth today instead of, your full dose, They really can't. They really can't. So for some people, they may be able to step it down, but same thing with cigarettes. Like they either have to stop at cold turkey because a lot of people can't, or some people have been able to go from a whole pack to 2 or 3 less every couple of days and stuff like that. So, but you're right. That is an option, but I tend to find that people have a harder time with that than just cutting it off because it stays in the system for so much longer.
Yeah, that's a good point. The other thing I want to say though, too, is like when you go to start this and start to make these changes, do it at a time in your life when you don't have a trip coming up 2 days from now, or, something, whether
Absolutely.
It's a vacation or a business trip or something where you're going to be out of your element and you don't have control over your choices in the same degree because you're going to be eating in a restaurant and you don't know everything they're putting in the food or whatever. So pick a good time to start it where you've got a decent stretch of time where you're going to be home at least 3 weeks.
Yep. No, absolutely. The timing is impeccable. If your boss just gave you your walking papers, like probably not the time to start it at that point, but it is the time to start creating a plan. Mm-hmm. So going out and having a plan before you get there, like if you're going to go to the fast food place, like get whatever it is that you're planning on getting, but shift out the soda for water with the chewable ice or whatever it is. And it'll still give you that kind of like, ooh, I got my drink in the straw. And I mean, it's crazy how people really are conditioned to have that. That's like their happy place. And instead of the fries, maybe get a fruit cup. You know what I mean? Like a real fruit cup, not like fruit cup and sugar. But changing those things up a little bit. You can still do these things, but just shifting it up a little bit to make it better, easier, and more comfortable.
Yeah. Just more executable. Make it so that you can actually do it. Don't set yourself up for failure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, Dr. Jen. This was a really fascinating episode, and I think this is such a great approach, and I hope a lot of people listen to this episode. Thanks, everybody, for listening. If you haven't joined our school community before, we'll put the link in the show notes below. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until next time, everybody, bye-bye. That wraps up another episode of Speaking Holistically. Thank you for listening. We hope today's conversation gave you new insights and inspiration to take charge of your health. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more, be sure and join the Speaking Holistically School community, by clicking the link in the show notes. There, you'll get access to daily podcast episodes, weekly live Q&As, educational content, and so much more. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until next time, be well, stay curious, and keep speaking holistically.